the legacy of an iconic blues guitarist, today on the Music Universe podcast. Buddy, are you a blues fan? Do you listen to a lot of blues?
Oh yeah, blues-based rock, man. That kind of just does it for me, just something about that groove and that sound that just gets my blood boiling, in a good way.
Absolutely. Well, we have a guest today. We have Garnet Grimm from Savoy Brown. He's the drummer, and they just put out a new record posthumously from Kim Simmons, who was the longtime guitarist, the founder of Savoy Brown. They were working on it prior to his passing while he was having cancer and going through treatment. And so we hear the story of how they put the album together and what they went through and how they modified their process to accommodate him. And it's a really, really interesting story. And Garnet pays wonderful tribute to the founder and one of blues' most important guitarists.
Yeah, the album's called Blues All Around, and it's definitely a fitting final tribute to Kim. For those who may not be aware of their background, they actually helped spawn the 1968 UK blues rock boom. So, and then they came to America more in the 70s, became more of open to us and stuff. So, without further ado, let's chat with Garnet.
Garnet Grimm, welcome to the Music Universe podcast. How are you today, sir?
All right. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you.
Guys.
We're great. Thank you for being here. Before we get to the new album, Blues All Around, let's first talk about you and your history with Savoy Brown. How did you come into the band, and how did you get linked up? And tell us a little bit about your history with the band.
Yeah, so I had known Kim probably maybe 10 years before I joined the band. How we met was I was invited by a mutual friend to go to join a recording day that Kim was doing that may end up being a solo record for Kim. At the time, we didn't know. And I said, yeah, I jumped at the chance to do it. I was familiar with Kim and his history. And we were living in the same area of upstate New York. So the recording session we did that day in 1999 had nothing to do with Savoy Brown. So we just met, and interesting enough, that same day, Pat was there. Pat DeSalvo, the bass player, ended up with me. We ended up together in Savoy Brown. Pat was doing the recording that day. So the three of us met and began our friendship that day, our relationship. And so how Savoy Brown happened for me was Pat. We were all friends. We had become friends over the years, and Pat was invited to cover some gigs around 2008 or 9 because bass player that Kim had in Savoy Brown had some health issues. So what happened was Pat in turn called me and said, hey, I've got to learn this music for the set. Do you want to help me do it? And I said, yeah, sure. So we went out to Kim's place, and we rehearsed 90 minutes of Savoy Brown music. And, we had a good time doing it. And that was all really just to get Pat up to speed for those gigs. So it wasn't too long after that Kim sort of started throwing the idea around of changing the band a little bit, and asked if I would be interested. And of course I jumped at it. So that's kind of, how it came about. It was we were already friends, we were already acquainted, and we had done some playing together. So it wasn't too intimidating, but I did have a sense that, wow, I'm now going to be part of something that's quite a bit bigger than myself. So, so that was a great, it was a good opportunity for me. So I jumped at it. So.
Yeah, and that makes you and Pat two members of the longest running consistent lineup of the band.
Yeah.
Since 2009.
Yeah, exactly. That I think we are the longest running rhythm section the band's ever had, and it's quite an honor. So yeah, and I think a lot of that longevity comes from, we finally, Kim, we were all friends. So I think we were all mature at that point. There were no our bad boy days were behind us, and we all had families and houses, and we just loved to play music, and we enjoyed each other's company. And so I think that longevity comes from that. I mean, you're a little bit more mature than, say, when you're 20, 23 or 24, and you wanna hang all night long and stuff like that. So so yeah, I think it was a great, great opportunity for me.
So let's talk about this new record, Blues All Around. Did it start before Kim Simmons' unfortunate passing from cancer? When did it start, or did you guys decide to do it as a tribute to him?
No, what happened was Kim I know he wanted to do this record. He wanted to do another record recording. So this one was done quite a bit differently. We usually had, since I was in the band, we always recorded live. And we just thought that it wouldn't be possible if we were going to make this recording come to fruition. We didn't think it would be possible because Kim just didn't have the energy to do long hours in the studio as he had done previously. So what the idea was, Kim had sent demos out to myself, Pat, and even the sound engineer in the studio that we would be recording. And we all sort of talked about what would work, what songs we thought would work. Is this a possibility? So Kim went in ahead of us, recorded, laid down some tracks, basic tracks, his vocal parts. He did all that himself. And then prior to Pat and I getting there, Pat and I went in together and recorded over his basic tracks. So the first day of recording, Kim wasn't even there. He came in on the second day and kind of gave us some instruction, gave us a little direction, and wanted to see how things were going. And he ended up doing some work that day, I remember, adding some keyboards. So we had to build this one sort of from the ground up, and it had to do more with the situation that Kim was in with his health. So, but in the end, I think it really went well. I think we ended up with a solid recording, and it was interesting because I got to look at things a little differently. It's you get to kind of view the recording differently when you do it that way. I know a lot of people record that way, but that was not how we ever did it. So it was new for me doing it that way.
And not to be morbid, but given his health at the time, did you kind of know that this might be the last project with him?
Yeah, I don't think any of us let our minds go there, but of course I think it was, there was a sense of urgency. I think Kim wanted to get this out. We weren't really sure, where Kim, if he was going to be able to maybe bounce back from this thing. I always secretly in my heart felt that he was going to, because Kim was pretty tenacious. So I always thought he's gonna he'll be kicking this, he'll be doing this thing, he's gonna be around for a while. And but it really did wear on him, and really got the best of him. But the chemo treatments, it's very um, kind of ironic. The thing that's keeping you alive during that period of when you're ill like that, the very thing that's keeping you alive is also causing you many health issues. He was having issues with neuropathy at that point, so he was having a
Oh
hard
yeah.
time. He was having a hard time playing, and which was, I mean, this guy is an iconic guitar player, and so that was a bit devastating, but he handled it very well. I mean, he never complained about it to me anyway. And I mean, we talked about adding some more slides. So some of some of the songs, the album is a little bit slide heavy, and in some areas maybe more than it would have been. But that was because he couldn't feel the end of his fingers, So,
Yeah.
I
but
get
yeah,
that. My mom has diabetic neuropathy in the feet, so I
right.
totally
Right.
understand that. I want to ask about the band and where things stand currently, who the baton carriers are, obviously yourself. The Wikipedia page, by the way, is wrong. They say Savoy Brown were. Very
Ah,
incorrect. You guys are still around, still performing under
right.
that name. So talk a little bit about the status of the band today as this record comes out and
Well,
things go forward.
well, right now, obviously, we're focused on this record, trying to promote it. But a lot of people are asking that question. It's a little bit up in the air. I don't think that from a live perspective, it would be very difficult for the band to continue without Kim. I mean, he was the vision, he started this band when he was 15 or 16, and he kept it going for almost 6 decades. That's just incredible, and I tell people that, you got to think about, he wrote almost all of the songs, not all of them, but he wrote a great deal of the songs. He performed in every performance, recorded on every Savoy Brown recording, and he was the vision, So it's really hard to say, let's keep this thing going the way it is. It's very difficult to do that without somebody like him. Now, uh, that being said, I do think it would be appropriate and a lot of fun, actually, if we were to do some, tribute shows. People have been asking about that. I would love to be involved with that. Kim launched a lot of careers. I don't know that he meant to do that, but there was a lot of people involved with the band that went on to do great things. The Foghat guys come to mind. All of the Foghat guys were in Savoy Brown or involved with the band at some point. Um, Dave Walker later on who sang with the band did a short stint with Black Sabbath and Fleetwood Mac. So there's a lot of people that were influenced by Kim. So it would be cool to see some of those people involved again, if possible. So um, uh, I do think there's going to be another, I hope anyway, I like to think there's going to be another Savoy Brown recording, because Kim left a lot of material. Um, he has tons of songs that he was writing. Some he has already written, they're nearly finished. A lot of times what would happen would Kim with Kim would be he would send Pat and I demos quite often. We would get a few a week sometimes, and you might spend time listening to them, and he'd ask you for feedback. He was very good about bringing you into the creative process with the band. And so sometimes we'd get to rehearsal and he'd say, you might talk about, oh, I like that song and I learned this, and forget about that. He'd say, check this one out. He'd have something all new, ready for you to play. And sometimes my mind I was stunned by the amount of music that Kim could write. So he has a lot of material. I'd like to see some of that come to fruition in another recording. So let's see.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
So, well, Garnet, this was fantastic. The album is called Blues All Around. Whatever happens, tribute show, or if you guys go on the road under whatever name, we'll be watching. And we wish you the best of luck, and hopefully more music comes out. So Thank you very much for being with us to discuss the band and Kim's legacy in this new record. We really appreciate it.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, guys.
You can hear how much love he has for his bandmates and for Kim and for the music. So it was really wonderful to get to talk to him. Again, the album is called Blues All Around. It came out in February. So go ahead, check it out, download it, purchase it, and check out and see what Garnet and Pat and everybody will be up to whether they're going to do a tribute show or whether they're going to tour under the Savoy Brown name or do something else. We'll be keeping up with them.
Yep, we sure will. And we'll have that release info, right here on themusicuniverse.com whenever we get it.
All right. For the Music Universe podcast, I'm Matt.
And Buddy, thanks for listening and watching. Be sure to hit that like, subscribe, and share button. Check us out at themusicuniverse.com for more, and tmupod.com. Take care.